Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Monday evening to you all. Hope you guys had a great Monday, a great start to your week. It's going to be another long video for you folks tonight. And until we start working through some of these things that we've been talking about, the videos will continue to be long. So tonight and then tomorrow morning's video, and then maybe tomorrow night's video will probably be very long. But as we work through the severe weather, the blizzard, the beginning tomorrow, then after that, we can start focusing a little bit more on that northeast winter storm that could crank up as early as Thursday morning into Friday. And then we can start to focus a lot really on this pattern change. But we're going to talk about it all in this video. And of course, we're going to work to what's happening first, which is the blizzard that will be cranking up tonight and the winter storm, the severe weather for tomorrow, which there has not been great trends for the severe weather. The enhanced risk has actually gotten larger, and it looks like there's going to be more of a discrete mode than we wanted to see. So we're going to give you the updated information for that for you folks in the South. We're going to talk about the winter storm update, and then the icing concern for areas of the mid-Atlantic. I'm talking about West Virginia, areas of Virginia, West Virginia, areas of Pennsylvania. We're going to talk about that, and then stay tuned. We're going to talk about that big pattern change that we've been advertising over the last week and some change, really, that could really bring some crazy, wacky weather. If you're a winter weather fan, it's some good weather leading up to Christmas. So we're going to talk about it all in this video. If you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. I'm going to put timestamps on this. Give me about 5 minutes till after I drop the video. And I'll have it where you can watch whatever you want to watch in this video. It's going to be broken up in about 4 or 5 segments, because I know not everybody wants to know about the severe weather threat if it's not happening in your neck of the woods. I can't blame you there, but definitely appreciate you watching the whole video. If you're somebody who does that, it means a real lot. Trust me, it does. But like the video if you like it. It helps to get these videos out there, make more people aware. And I really appreciate the support over the last 48 hours. The videos have really popped off. A lot of growth. Welcome to any new members. And I certainly appreciate you guys' support. If you guys got anything that I can pray about, pray over, please put it in the comments below so I can pray over it and so others can too. And I promise you, others will, I promise you. So let's get rolling here. Water vapor loop. So it's a little bit behind, a few hours behind on the water vapor loop, but it still shows a good idea of what's happening. And really the pattern changing phenomenon, if you will, what's happening out here. Upper trough digging into the western U.S. all the way into Mexico, folks. And then storms are going to fire up across the plains later this evening. And then check it out. You can already see, obviously, high water content in these areas where you have the whiter colors, that's clouds, just more activity beginning to develop. A lot of ice, if it hasn't already began to develop in the Dakotas, will in the next couple hours, and this storm will really begin to crank up. And by tomorrow morning, you will have all-out blizzard conditions in this area of the Dakotas and western Nebraska. And then severe weather will be ongoing tomorrow morning, potentially, all the way through tomorrow overnight into Wednesday morning. So this is really what's coming. You see how it's digging right here? Surface low is going to fire off the Rockies tonight, and then it's all game on, and then this will continue to the eastern coastline and then potentially fire up a winter storm for the Northeast. So what we got going on as far as watches and warnings, let's make sure there's no updated information. There is not. We have no winter storm watches up for the Northeast or anything right now. By the way, that event yesterday overachieved. I saw some amounts in like Western Mass, for example, they got 8, 9 inches of snow. Incredible. It's weird how these events can overachieve sometimes. But blizzard warnings in these this vibrant red looking color here. Winter storm warnings in the pink. Ice storm warnings in the purple here. This is going to be something a lot of people are not going to talk about much, but there is going to be an ice storm concern. Ice is always more of a concern with snow normally. And this is just a monster winter storm, folks. It really is. Could be a record breaker for certain areas. But the severe weather is a big deal also. And in fact, the enhanced risk has been extended more so into Texas. Slight risk extended also deeper, basically further west in Texas. There's a slight risk of severe storms also in southeast Oklahoma. So they're really concerned about this line of storms that'll be working through. This starts for 12Z Tuesday morning, which is, think of that as when the sun comes up. That is when the time frame starts. But this enhanced risk is a level 3 out of 5. Let's hope this doesn't get upgraded. But really the threat is, you look at the tornado threat, a 10% risk of a tornado within 25 miles in any given location. In this yellow area, you also have a hatch region, which you see these little black lines in this. I know it's pretty small on your screen. That means you also have a 10% risk to see a significant tornado, which is an EF2 or higher. But there's also a 5% risk to see a tornado within 25 miles in any given location in this massive brown area. This includes Dallas. This includes Waco down to New Orleans. Includes Jackson, Mississippi, Greenville, Mississippi. So this is unfortunately, and a lot of people have asked about Eastern Texas. I hope I don't feel like I led you guys astray, but I can tell you this has trended a little bit more of a severe mode for you folks. But I think if we can get through late morning to early afternoon in Eastern Texas, then I think the threat ends for you folks. But there's certainly going to be an area right into here in far Eastern Texas that we need to watch out for. And of course, Louisiana. Wind threat will be there too, a 30% risk to see 50 knots or higher. That's 55 to 60 miles per hour and 25 miles at any given point. So there will be some damaging wind risk with this too. So let's go on and go straight to the severe weather. Then we'll look at the blizzard and the major winter storms in the northern plains, then the northeast winter storm potential later this week, and then the pattern change. So we'll start this off tomorrow morning just before the sun comes up. You got storms moving into the Dallas area, and it's heading towards eastern Texas. So we'll stop it right here, and we'll go on and flip it to this right here, and this shows more of Louisiana, areas of Arkansas, Mississippi right here in eastern Texas. Here it comes. So if you stop it right here, it's around late morning, right in the middle of the day, around lunchtime. You notice you got these little discrete little showers and storms popping up ahead of the main line. But really what happens right when you get into the early afternoon time frame, you start to see these little kidney bean looking storms right here. This is what we did not want to see and what we weren't seeing 24 hours ago. We've trended more to more prefrontal storms. It's storms that really can get going ahead of the main line of storms, and what comes in behind this line of storms is more stable, dry air, clears out the atmosphere, severe weather threat ends. So unfortunately for you folks in Louisiana, even far southern Arkansas, and far eastern areas of Texas, this has trended a little bit worse for you folks. And it's only because some of these short-range model guys are showing more prefrontal storms. So we keep this going here. Look at all these little storms that have little kind of hooks to them, if you will. You got to watch out for every single one of these. The dynamics in place, you're going to have that low-level moisture. You're going to have probably a 30 to 40 knot low-level jet in place. The winds will be varying with height, meaning they'll be changing directions the higher up they go. So there'll be a spin to these things. There'll be some rotating updrafts is what I'm trying to say. Will they make it to the ground and create what we call a tornado? We're not sure, but this is definitely a semi-discrete mode. It's not just a put together linear line of storms anymore. You got an area right here. This is getting into around mid-afternoon, 3, 4, 5 o'clock. You got these storms moving into Shreveport. And then we're starting to get into the evening hours when the sun begins to set around 7 p.m. or so, give or take an hour. Look at these nasty storms right here deep in southeast Texas. I mean, they all have that discrete semi-supercellular mode to them. They all just have a hook, and all these will have the chance to be rotating, guys. And then we keep this going. We lose some daytime heating, them daytime ingredients, and this might consolidate more into a linear mode as we get into the overnight hours. But there will still be a chance for some tornadic storms down here in southern Louisiana until the overnight hours. And then more storms could develop after this, but I think we start to lose some ingredients with these storms behind it. We look deeper into deeper east into the deeper south, if you will. There'll be a slight risk for Wednesday. There will also be a tornado threat with this too, but I reckon it'll probably only be a 5% risk. But if we actually keep going, we look further down the road here until Wednesday, waking up to a Wednesday morning, storms will be an issue. We have to watch the panhandle of Florida, Mobile, Alabama. This looks like it's definitely going to be more unorganized, if you will, but there'll be a moist sector right into here that will certainly have dynamics, thermodynamics, kinematics, basically all the ingredients for severe weather down here. And some of these storms, and this is getting into midday Wednesday, could certainly support a quick spin up and damaging winds. So please be aware. And then, of course, we make our way into Thursday, and then we have a slight risk for day 4. This includes all the way up to, say all the way twice there, but it includes all the way up to a very small section of southern South Carolina, southeast Georgia, and then a large portion, the Big Bend areas of Florida, central Florida, northern Florida. There's going to be a chance for severe weather Thursday. So it's a long, drawn-out event, and let's just hope it doesn't materialize as worse as it could possibly can. And we really don't want this to, but unfortunately, we've trended in the wrong direction. We really have. So I'll give you one last update on this tomorrow morning. And then after that, there's a lot of great people on YouTube that go live during these severe weather events. Ryan Hall's one, and there's a lot of other great people who do it too. I honestly don't have the setup, don't have the internet connection to go live for you guys, and hopefully that's something I can incorporate when I maybe get a little bit bigger. Maybe we can financially put a little bit more money into this, and more importantly, I can do this full time because it takes a lot of time to go live, and I work a full-time job. But looking at the winter storm, it's going to start off with a lot of freezing rain, freezing drizzle for areas of the Dakotas. We're getting into the middle of the night, and you stop this around midnight. This is when the heavy precipitation begins to really come up, with the surface low approaching and deepening, allowing for dynamics to really max out and the precipitation to be not only there but very heavy, thrown back into all this cold air. It starts snowing very heavily in far western Nebraska, the western half of South Dakota, and then you have a freezing rain event ongoing in areas of southwest Minnesota, northwest Iowa, and then southeast areas and eastern areas of South Dakota. A lot of directional terms there. But you keep this going, and there's going to be an area of warmer air right into here initially with the surface low pulling up, but you'll stop it around Wednesday morning. Not only is it pouring, puking snow in these areas, all the way down into Colorado, western Wyoming, and all these sections right here, eastern Wyoming, it is unloading snow, potential for thunder snow, guys. A thunderstorm of snow is certainly going to be likely. I would not be surprised to see some bolts of lightning coming up on the radar tomorrow. It's going to be fascinating to watch this unfold. I mean, look at this little line of storms that turns into a line of thunder snow. Almost looks like on the HRRR model. But there's a lot of sleet, freezing rain mixed in with this too, in southeast South Dakota, areas of Minnesota, southern Minnesota. And, you keep this going all the way into tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening. Even all the moisture associated with the surface low turns to snow. And then you got a huge area of moderate to heavy snow moving all throughout the Dakotas. And you're getting into the overnight hours, right in the middle of the night, tomorrow night into Wednesday morning. I mean, this looks like a snow cane out here, a hurricane of snow. Not literally, guys, not literally. But all the cold air gets wrapped all the way to the surface low, and everybody's seeing snow at this point, and potentially for days. It's an unreal event. But one thing, when the snow's falling the heaviest is when you're going to have the strongest winds. It's pouring snow in this area where you see 40 to 50 to 60 mile per hour winds in these areas from the HRRR model around Tuesday morning, tomorrow morning. Pouring snow, all out blizzard conditions in areas of far northeast Colorado, western Nebraska, and then southwest South Dakota, guys. It is unloading, and you can't discount this area of winds too, of pushing 30 to 40 miles per hour, moving into Minneapolis. Could be wind-driven freezing rain and sleet in certain areas of this tomorrow afternoon. Really just a dynamic setup that really, if anything, this is just the front door of what's to come after this. Not only you got this system, but really what comes behind it is incredible. Snow from this system, from the National Weather Service, just widespread foot and a half, 2 foot totals are possible, especially in this area right into here. But North Dakota slammed. And then, I think Minneapolis, you're going to be on the warmer side of this. But we need to watch out for ice too, guys. This isn't being talked about a whole lot. Should be, at least from what I'm seeing. But ice totals have increased for areas of eastern North Dakota. And I think this is because what's going to fall over the next several hours. But there's a corridor of nasty ice in this area right into here. A quarter inch, maybe as much as a half an inch of ice. That is ice storm criteria. Ice is going to weigh the limbs down and cause a lot of issues. So we need to watch out for this. But this is about to become a now thing. I'll give you some last minute information tomorrow morning. But good luck for you folks out there if there's any storm chasers. I would love to chase something like this. But, not a highly populated area, obviously. But there's still people who live out here. And I hope you guys are prepared and ready for this. I know you folks are some strong-willed people, some hardy people. And I know that you're certainly going to have it handled. But definitely praying for the best for everybody with the severe weather and then the blizzard conditions and the ice storm out here. But let's switch to the Northeast. Tricky system, guys. But I think over the last, I would say, 48 hours, we've really gotten to some model consistency on what's going to happen. The European has always liked the idea of a lot of ice right into here. And this is for Thursday morning. The pink you see here is the Euro's trying to say there's going to be freezing rain. Freezing rain almost to Pittsburgh, almost all the way to Erie. Getting all the way up to State College, you got freezing rain. I'm going to get a closer look at this starting tomorrow evening. I know this is a more broad look at this, but there's also a lot of heavy snow up into the UP and Michigan. I know I didn't mention that also, but with this low pressure right here could potentially do a lot of snow. We'll talk about that tomorrow morning. I'm sorry to left you guys hanging on that, but freezing rain. There's just so much to talk about. So much to talk about. But freezing rain starting to move in Thursday morning. We're getting to later into Thursday morning, and this is just an all-out ice storm for basically the eastern Appalachian Mountains here. I'm sorry, the western areas of Virginia, eastern areas of West Virginia, and then basically all the hills and the mountainous regions of western Maryland. All-out ice storm. I really think you're going to have ice storm warnings up for this area with just an area of CAD, cold air damming. Cold air is going to get trapped in these little eastern slopes of the mountains, and you're going to have a nasty little ice storm right into this area. I'm going to show predicted ice totals from the National Weather Service here in a second, but we're getting into Thursday afternoon, and some of this ice maybe switches to some snow, but here comes the low pressure riding a little bit too far inland to be snow, or any winter weather really from Washington, D.C. Up to Boston. But I can tell you, watch out Washington, D.C. Thursday morning. A lot of times models have a hard time figuring out these ice situations, and a lot of times you could potentially, even though right here it shows ice only in these sections, it could be more into these areas right into here. A lot of times cold air damming situations trend a little bit colder as we get a little bit closer into these short range models. So just keep that in mind. But as we get into Thursday morning, heavy snow, ice switches to heavy snow for areas of Pennsylvania. This looks like a big winter storm for New York State, except it's going to stay rain probably for Long Island, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., Baltimore. I think I'd already said New York City. And it looks like for areas of Boston, you got to watch out. We're getting into Friday morning. Heavy snowstorm potential for Western Mass, but maybe just stays a cold rain for Boston, but things could change. But I can tell you the track of this low pressure does not favor heavy snow along the I-95 corridor in the northeast and mid-Atlantic. This looks like an interior northeast snow, but we'll see what happens. We could still have some last-second shifts. So as far as snow totals from the European ensembles here, heavy snow in Pennsylvania. This could be a big storm for State College, maybe down to Scranton. Watch out northern New Jersey. It could get sneaky for you folks. You guys are always... and it's always funny. Northern New Jersey always can try to sneak themselves into a big snowstorm, but all you have to do is drive a little bit further south. There's always a big gradient in New Jersey, just from watching storms in the past in this area. But for you folks who saw a lot of snow with this system that moved through last night and yesterday, you guys could get snow on top of snow. Just loading up the snow just in time for Christmas time. And but the interior areas, this could be a big snowstorm for you guys. Nothing historic, but certainly over a foot snowfall totals are possible for a lot of areas. Look at the blend of all models in this area. And not as much. The European ensembles show more, but the blend of all models a little bit more conservative, maybe rightfully so. But we look at the ice totals from the National Weather Service. These are professionals. And this is concerning. You see these dark pinks right here? That's ice totals pushing over a 20th of an inch of ice, quarter of an inch of ice. You got some areas in these higher mountaintops of West Virginia and Maryland, and then Virginia showing over a half an inch of ice. And this is concerning. You look at the blend of all models, and let's look at ice here. And same kind of deal. Half an inch of ice showing up in the far areas of Western Maryland. And then you mix that up with a little bit of snow, a few inches of snow. This will be definitely a nasty mixture right into these areas. I've drove through this area one time when I chased up here, and beautiful areas right up into here. But it's just the hilly mountainous areas. It can get kind of tricky. The forecast can get tricky in this area. So let's go on a switch and talk about this big pattern change. And I'm sure a lot of people are tuning in for. I hate that I use a lot of my energy for the first part of video when this is always the most. To me personally, I'm always personal, guys. This is the most exciting thing to talk about. But the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. This runs us from the 18th to the 22nd. Below average temperatures dominates the entire lower 48. The only area is in northern Maine, but even a little above average temperatures in northern Maine is still cold. But listen, this is a big pattern shift, guys. Right before Christmas. This is well below average temperatures. The chances for below average temperatures are over a 90% chance of happening. But when you see this from the Climate Prediction Center, you really need to pause, and you might start honking the horn at a real big time Arctic outbreak from this. The 8 to 14 day range shifts all this cold air from the central U.S. to the eastern U.S. And look at the time frame, the 20th through the 26th. To me, that's the best time you can get it, right around Christmas time. To me, Christmas time is supposed to be cold, guys. I don't know how people go on vacation to Florida for Christmas time. It just blows my mind, and I know not everybody's like me and likes cold weather, but at least around Christmas time, it's supposed to be cold. It's supposed to be snowy, and I just don't understand how somebody would want to go into a tropical paradise around Christmas time. It always tears my nerves up when I watch Home Alone 2, I believe. I believe it's the second one, when they go on vacation to Florida, leave their kid. But it tears my nerves up. Even outside, they leave their kid, but they go to Florida. But anyways, guys, let's keep rolling here. 8 to 14 day temperature outlook. For winter weather and a cold weather fan, you love to see it. You love to see it. You really do. And you compare this with this, and yes, I know it says below average precipitation is possible, but you look down here along the Gulf Coast, the southeast, the potential for above average precipitation. You mix that with the cold air, what do you get? I think you get some shots at some winter weather, even for areas kind of south. I'm not saying somewhere in South Carolina, Alabama, Georgia is going to see snow. I'm saying that the pattern looks great. Look at the EPS right here. This European Ensemble is one of the most reliable model suits in the entire world. And we're going forward here in time. Nice pattern, cool down for this weekend. Let me slow down. For the eastern and central U.S., for the entire U.S., we might get a brief warm-up around the 19th to 20th time frame where the ridge tries to flex. We'll see how that trends. That was kind of a trend today. But then after that, the Pacific Ridge builds. When you get a ridge over the west, warmer than average temperatures in the west, and you normally get a dump of cold air to the central and eastern U.S. We call this a positive PNA. And then we have ridging all the way up to Alaska. We call that a negative EPO. And that normally can dislodge cold air into the lower 48. And sure enough, for the central and eastern U.S., you have a dislodgement of cold air, maybe a cross-polar flow. You still got somewhat of a negative NAO, even though it's not much strong. You still got blocking up here. This jolts the storm track south. You got cold air on top, and you might be working with magic. So this is 10 days out still, but even some of the professionals are starting to, outside of the Climate Prediction Center, but even some of the local Mets are starting to say, hey, we're starting to inch our way into a favorable time frame. So I'll say this, guys. For example, here in Columbia, South Carolina, if I look at my 15-day forecast, it shows rain-snow mix in Lexington, South Carolina. And a lot of people are going to read that and look at that and say, and tell everybody and their cousin's brother, father-in-law, that it's going to snow on Christmas Eve. Try not to do that, guys. I know it's hard, but these weather apps that you look at on your phones, the Weather Channel app, even though the Weather Channel is a household name, just be careful what you tell, because you're setting yourself up for disappointment. And normally what happens, and I don't want to get on my soapbox here, is when you tell everybody that it's going to snow, those people will tell everybody it's going to snow. Suddenly, you get 2 days before Christmas Eve, and all of a sudden, they're not calling for snow anymore. And then you want to blame all the weathermen and weatherwomen in the world that they never get it right, when really you were looking at a 15-day forecast that doesn't really go off any model data. I don't even know what data it gets it from past day 10, guys. I really don't. I don't have a clue. So just be aware of what you believe. I'm excited. Even the kid in me looks at the 15-day forecast and sees a snowflake on Christmas. It makes me smile inside. But at the same time, I know enough about the weather to know to not be gullible and get sucked into it. We're entering a favorable time period. Let's be excited about that for sure. But here comes this troughing in the east. It looks beautiful, guys. You got the ridging in the west. You can't ask for better than this. You can't, and it continues through Christmas Eve, through Christmas. Storm track is to the south, and it's just asking for some Gulf moisture to pull into this cold air. You see the blue? That's troughing, cold front. Think of that as below average temperatures. So what does this mean temperature-wise? Well, this weekend we start to cool down. Highs in the 40s for the south, only 20s for the Ohio Valley. And then we get into later this weekend, we get into next week. This is around the 19th. If you're ever confused about timestamps, guys, what time frame we're at, look up here. DEC 19, December 19th. But look at this cold air beginning to move into the northern plains. Then we're getting into early next week. Cold air begins to ooze even further south and southeast. This is next Tuesday afternoon for highs. Only 30s and 40s deep in the south. 20s for the Mississippi Valley, the Ohio Valley. And this cold air just continues to drop south off the GEFS ensembles. I mean, look at this. We'll stop this the 22nd, next Thursday morning. Now, this is pretty far out, guys. But negative, below zero readings. And this just continues, guys. It looks very favorable, guys. That's all I'm going to say. Now, I'm going to show you this run. And a lot of you guys might poop your pants when you see this. But this is definitely, certainly a laud she is coming run. That's what I say on Twitter. It's a phrase I use. If you follow me on Twitter, you're probably laughing a little bit. But when I start to see winter weather on the models, I get excited and I type that out. And it's just an inside joke from people who follow me. But when I say she coming, that means that we have certainly a wintry look and some cold air coming. But certainly when you see this, you're gonna get excited. But guys, when you see this, just know I'm showing you this because it's an active pattern. How active is the pattern after this pattern change moves in? Here comes this storm system, moves in. We've already talked about this. This is when the cold air settles in this weekend. And then you got some moisture in the Gulf, already trying to flirt with this cold air at the end of this coming weekend. It doesn't really do much. Then GFS wants to pop off a storm right here already. About a week from today, low pressure, favorable time track. A lot of the cold air hasn't really got in yet. Really, I'm looking for just after the 20th is when the cold air really, really drops down, right before Christmas. And it's already showing snow. I mean, look, please don't look at this and think it's going to happen. We don't know if it's going to happen. All I can tell you, cold air is coming through. You got a lot of Gulf moisture down here. And look, it's snowing in Tennessee, Arkansas for next Tuesday morning. So all rain for the Carolinas, but it doesn't matter. Specifics, throw them out the window. But then all of a sudden, cold air really drops in, pops off a coastal low, and all of a sudden you got snow in the eastern Carolinas. And then you get all the way to Christmas. Suddenly, you get a snowstorm on the coastline for Christmas Eve. This is 294 hours out, guys. I shouldn't even be showing you this. A lot of people will frown upon it. But I'm showing you this just because after we get this system out the way, the cold air drops in, the moisture starts to get a little happy in the Gulf of Mexico. They start to flirt with one another, and then they try to connect here, and then we might have some magic to work with sometime, I would say mid to late next week, and then leading up to Christmas, guys. So that's the reason I'm showing you this. The European, like I said, European's always going to be the king model here. The European, we get through that system, and that same system that the GFS shows, it shows all rain, and it shows snow only for the northern areas. So take that as you will. Shows a system, but it's much warmer. The southeast ridge flexes. Excuse me. First cough, and I'm 28 minutes in, so that's good. But I can feel more coming, so we got to wrap this up. So cold air dropping in on the European, the operational European, 198 hours out, the 20th. And then look at this. All right, got to really wrap this up. Right at the end of the Euro, you got a big winter storm that shows up. So it tells you we don't know what's going to happen, but a lot of crazy runs are going to start popping up, and you're going to see a lot of crazy things tossed around on social media. Just be careful what you believe, guys. But that's all I got. I'm about to cough myself to death. I'm going to get out of here. God bless all y'all. See y'all in the morning.